I'm Miss Leigh with Bible Basics with our third craft in the Moses unit. This week we're studying all about the plagues that God sent upon the people of Egypt when the Pharaoh would not cooperate and let the Israeli people go. One of the tools that he gave Moses to help him in this challenge is the staff of Moses. It was almost magical in a way. It would turn from a wooden staff that a shepherd would use into a snake. Pretty cool, huh? Well, we're going to use a little bit of paint and we're going to turn this into a snake staff. I hope you enjoy it. In our craft bags this week, we find a brown stick with 2 white dots at the end, a paper plate with 2 notches cut out of it, a little red thingy, and a couple of paint pens. Well, what we'll be doing with all this is painting Moses' staff, which is what this represents, to look like a snake. And I've included in your craft bag some patterns that you might find on a snake, but I think what we're going to do is probably dots and stripes are going to be the easiest thing for us to work on. What I want you to do is first, let's put dots on the eyes. Do you still have the black pen that we used last week? If you do, pull that out and let's make snake eyes on the top of our snake. Just a little vertical slit works beautifully for a snake's eye. Can you see that? Now we'll start decorating our snake. This staff, which Moses had carried with him during his many years as a shepherd in Midian, is truly one of the cool things in the otherwise somber story of the many plagues that came down upon the people of Egypt. God used Moses' simple shepherd's staff, and Aaron's staff as well, as a tool to demand attention and to direct nature. But don't confuse these simple staffs with the ones used by Pharaoh's magicians. Although the story goes that these magicians turned their staffs into serpents as well, their tricks were no match for the power of God. Moses's and Aaron's staffs were tools used by God, not magical tricks. Moses' staff is first mentioned in the book of Exodus, chapter 4, verse 2, when at the burning bush, God tells Moses to throw it down, and it turns into a serpent. And again, remember, both Aaron and Moses carry staffs with them, and they're both used by God. In fact, if you're interested in knowing what the 2 different staffs were used for, I found this graphic on the internet that someone has gone through and seen which staff was used for which different plague. It's kind of interesting. Now that you have your eyes on your snake, let's put some designs on the shaft itself. Take one of your paint pens and give it a good shake. These pens have paint in them that needs to be shaken up. Take off the top. The other secret with paint pens, or most of them, is you need to pump them. I'm just gently pressing down on my paper plate here, and that gets the paint flowing. Put the Moses' staff in these little notches That will keep it up off the table. Plus, gives you a place to pump your paint and just helps you sort of hold the staff as you're decorating. And I'm going to start off with some dots here. Now this paint will take a little time to dry, so just be warned. And every now and then you may need to pump it again to get the paint flowing. There you go. Go back and do those. But just paint it however you want, whatever you want your snake to look like. Let's try a different color. Let's do some stripes. Shake my paint up. Give it some pumps. Ugh. Let's see. Let's try some stripes. Oh yeah. That's gonna be a cool snake. I bet yours will be cool too. Before I go too much further, oh boy, this is fun putting the stripes on. Before I go too much further, let me caution you. Sticks in the hands of children are often used to whack things, right? It's so tempting. But let me caution you, this is a rather delicate staff, and I would hate to see you break it. The way it was created is I took these cardboard tubes that are used by beekeepers for little houses for bees, and I've glued them end to end, and then I've topped it with a wooden dowel. Now I use strong glue, and I've put a coat of paint over everything, but it would not take a very strong whack on a brother or sister. You would never do that, would you? To make it fall apart, and I would hate to see that happen. Anyway, we're getting ready to add the very final touch to Moses' staff to make it resemble a snake, and that is a snake's tongue. If you have some glue at your house, which I presume you can probably rustle up some glue, take this little red thing that you've been given, put a little dot on the end there, and put it on the front of your snake. Let's see if we can lay him over to his side there and get that to stick. And once it's dry, you can kind of bend it downwards. And actually the whole snake is going to need to dry. So just leave him sitting there, and pretty soon you will have Moses' staff / serpent. I hope you've enjoyed this craft, and we'll see you next week.